So there are many great weapons in Assassin's Creed Origins, and there's many legendary ones that have really great perks on them, and I'm going to be showing you how to get some of the best weapons in the game in today's video. Possibly you're preparing for Trial of the Gods, which is supposed to come out today, or you just want some better gear in the game. I'm going to be telling you how to get this awesome set of weapons. All of the weapons in this video come from the PHYLAKE bosses, so if you haven't completed all of them, then there's some really great weapons you can get from them in the open world. I'd say the PHYLAKes do drop some of the best weapons in the game, but there are some weapons that you get from other activities that are just slightly better. But if you do want better gear, this is definitely the place to start with the PHYLAKE bosses. Anyway, without further ado guys, let's get straight into today's video. So first off, we have the Golden Wolf. This is a legendary regular sword, and it has critical hit damage, critical hit rate, and the most important perk, which is health on kill. You get this sword from killing the Outsider PHYLAKE, which is the level 20 PHYLAKE, and is actually the lowest one that you kill in the game. It's a really good sword, actually. It's great for starting players, and it's also really good for people that are higher in their levels as well, simply because it has that health on kill perk. There's been many times where this sword has saved my life, and it's definitely worth getting, because if you're kind of bad at the combat and you always find yourself losing lots of health, this sword will help you get your health back, even if you've lost a couple of health bars. It's just a generally solid weapon. I used this for the majority of my time playing the game, and it definitely did serve me well. It made those higher level encounters that much easier, and it's just a really good overall weapon, and great starting weapon, and great for experienced players as well. Next up, we have the Copper Mace. Now, this has Adrenaline on Kill, Combo Multiplier, and Health on Hit, which is a really nice perk. You get this from killing Ptolemy's Fist, which is the level 22 PHYLAKE in the open world. This mace is actually relatively powerful due to its Health on Hit perk. If you're slightly low on health, you can just simply hit someone with this weapon and get your health back, which is really nice. It's not that much health, but it's enough that helps you in a combat situation if your health's slightly low, and that's basically the main allure of this weapon. I don't personally like it that much because it's slow, and it's got strange overpower charge attacks, and I just don't really like it that much, but I can see why people want to use this weapon, simply because it does a lot of damage, and it does give you health every time you hit an enemy, which is definitely a very useful perk, given the difficult combat system of Assassin's Creed Origins. My only concern with this weapon is the speed of it. It's obviously a very heavy weapon, therefore it's not going to attack very quickly, and I just prefer the faster weapons in Assassin's Creed Origins because they attack faster and they overall do a lot more damage than this weapon does. So I'm going to stick to the Fire Sword and other weapons like that, but simply because they do much more damage, and if you want to use a Copper Mace, then you go ahead and do that. I just don't like the speed of it. Next up, we have the Smoke and Mirrors Predator Bow, which has stealth damage, critical hit rate, and the most important perk, which is On Fire. You get this from the Iron Ram PHYLAKE boss, which is level 25. I love weapons that are on fire in Assassin's Creed Origins, and that's the same with this bow. However, I don't really like Predator bows that much. I really don't like how they play. They don't feel very great when I shoot them, so I tend to not use them. But the main reason I was to use this was because of the On Fire perk. The fire perk in Assassin's Creed Origins does so much more damage than all of the other perks in the game, such as poison damage or sleep damage, so it's really useful when you get a weapon that happens to have fire damage on it. It really is nice. However, the only downside to this to me is because it's a Predator bow, and I absolutely hate the way the Predator bows play in this game. They just don't feel natural at all. The aiming's off, and it feels really janky. That's really what it feels like. So I tend to stay away from Predator bows, but if you like Predator bows and you also like fire damage in weapons, then I definitely recommend using the Smoke and Mirrors Predator Bow. This next weapon is called Sirisha, and it's a legendary spear with critical hit damage, Adrenaline on Kill, and Cursed. You get this from killing the level 28 PHYLAKE boss called the Stranger. It's an alright weapon. I just don't really like the spears in this game. There's nothing I have against this weapon, but I just don't like the spears, and plus it has the Cursed perk, which means it's incredibly difficult to use this weapon without dying, considering the spears aren't very great in Assassin's Creed Origins. There's another weapon in the game which is a Khopesh, and it has the Cursed perk, and it's a lot more effective because the weapon is a lot easier to handle. I personally don't really like the Sirisha that much, but if you're into the spears in Assassin's Creed Origins, weapons, and this weapon will definitely be for you. It does a lot of damage when the weapon works good, and maybe it's just because I'm bad at using spears, because I'm accustomed to using other weapons. Personally, I just don't like it. It's not a weapon for me, but if you want to go ahead and get the Sirisha, then go ahead and enjoy this legendary weapon. The next weapon on this list is called the Stormblades, and it's a legendary dual sword with adrenaline regeneration, critical hit rate, and instant charging. You get these dual swords from killing the Ra's Mercy level 30 Phylake in the open world. These are actually pretty decent. There's definitely better dual blades out there, although I'd say these are among some of the best, especially because of that instant charging perk. It basically allows you to instantly charge your overpower attack, which means you can stagger basically any enemy very quickly. They're pretty good blades, but I have some better ones called Wadjet's knives that do poison damage, and I just much prefer them due to the poison damage they give. However, I bought them off the Ubisoft store with Phylakes credits, so these are definitely a very good close second. They do a lot of damage, they're very fast, and they have a really nice instant charge perk. This next weapon is called the Head Splitter, and it has adrenaline on hurt, adrenaline on kill, and health for criticals, so it's pretty good for getting that health back, and also for building up adrenaline in the game. You get this axe by killing the Hill, which is the level 32 Phylake in the open world, and it's actually a pretty formidable weapon. I've used this many times, it's got me out of quite a few difficult situations, and it definitely is a very heavy hitter. I used this quite a bit early on in the game, and it definitely helped me out. It has a really cool ability where basically you can use up your adrenaline bar if you hold down RB or R1 on PlayStation, and it uses up your adrenaline bar, and basically you just keep on hitting until the adrenaline gauge is completely depleted. So you can effectively stun lock enemies as long as you have a lot of adrenaline, so it's very helpful in this regard. This perk also doubles up with the adrenaline on hit and adrenaline on kill, so you can effectively hit for a very long amount of time and completely stun lock enemies, especially Phylakes. It's very good against Phylakes in that regard and the larger enemies in the game. It's overall a pretty nice weapon. If you don't mind the speed of it, then it's definitely a formidable weapon to have in your arsenal. Now, this next weapon is one of my personal favorites in the game. It's called Deathstorm, and it has charging speed, adrenaline on kill, and it's on fire. Although this time it's a hunting bow opposed to a predator bow, which means it's much more useful in combat. You get this from killing the Bane of Hathor level 35 Phylake in the open world, and it's one of the best bows in the game, definitely. Simply because it's so versatile, being a hunter bow, and it's also on fire, so it does tons of damage to basically all enemies in the game. Plus, it also has that charging speed all the way up, so you can do tons of damage and not have to charge an awful lot as well. It basically charges up fully in no time at all. Anyway, this is one of my personal favorite bows in the game. If you're going to go for any of these Phylake weapons, I definitely recommend getting the Deathstorm bow. It's very powerful, and as I said earlier, on fire is one of the most powerful abilities or attributes on your weapons that you can have in this game. It definitely outshines poison, definitely outshines sleep, and it's just a generally really good bow, given the fact that it's on fire, and it also has the charging speed. The next weapon is called the Composite Bow, and it's a legendary light bow with rate of fire, adrenaline on kill, and health on hit. So it's definitely a really formidable bow if you like light bows. You get this from killing the Half-Horn level 38 Phylake boss in the open world, and it definitely is a great bow, especially if you like light bows. As I said, I much prefer warrior bows and hunter bows because, you know, they just either do a lot more damage or they're a lot more precise, but the Composite Bow is actually really good. It's especially useful when you're in the middle of combat, you lose a lot of health, you can then drop back a little bit, get your health back by shooting a couple of enemies, and then you can get back into the fray. So it really is nice to have that health on hit feature, and it also has an increased fire rate, so you can shoot much faster than any of the other light bows in the game because it has a maxed out rate of fire attribute. Overall, it's a really nice light bow, probably one of the best in the game due to the increased rate of fire and due to the health on hit feature, and I recommend getting this one. So this next item is a shield, and it's the only shield on this list. It's called Josa's Pride, and it has melee resistance, damage absorption value, and sleep on block. You get this from killing the Iron Bull level 40 Phylake boss in the open world, and I've gotta say this is one of the most underwhelming weapons on this list, really. Obviously, if you like the design of it, or if you like sleep on block, it's definitely useful in some circumstances. However, I found that bleeding on block or poison on block was just a whole lot better, and it did more to the enemy. Obviously, it is quite cool sometimes to be able to have the enemy sleep when you simply just block their weapon. However, personally, I prefer the other perks. I feel like sleep is overshadowed by all of the other elemental perks on weapons in the game. However, that's not to say it isn't useful in some circumstances, and you know, the shield looks very, very nice with the sleep effect on it. Obviously, poison has the purple smoke and this has the white or bluey smoke, and it does look very nice, but that's about as much as this shield has going for it. It's definitely one of the weaker pieces of gear on this list. However, it is pretty good in some circumstances nonetheless. Lastly, we have the 4th Plague, which is a legendary warrior bow with precision, critical hit damage, and health on hit. You get it from killing the Galatian, which is the level 40 Phylake boss in the open world, and I've got to say the 4th Plague is a very, very good warrior bow, simply because it has that health on hit feature and also the precision feature, which means you're going to be very accurate, and also when you're hitting enemies, you're going to be getting health back. If I didn't already have the Jackal's Gaze, which is a simply better warrior bow because it has health on hit and also bleeding, then I'd definitely use this, but it's a really, really nice bow. If you are struggling to find a good warrior bow in Assassin's Creed Origins, I definitely recommend the 4th Plague, although by the time you kill this boss, you'll most likely have the Jackal's Gaze anyway, but if you don't happen to have the Jackal's Gaze, then the 4th Plague is a really, really good weapon as well. Anyway, that is the end of the video, guys. I hope it helped you out, and now you have a lot of better weapons in the game. The Phylakes are definitely a really nice part of the game. I hope they add more of them in the future. Also, I'll definitely be making videos on Trial of the Gods and the new outfit pack that was released for Assassin's Creed Origins. It's just, it was my anniversary yesterday with my girlfriend, so I couldn't really make any videos for that. So I'll get on to working on those today. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe for more gaming news, content, and reviews in the future. Just giving you a quick update on my Assassin's Creed Origins review. I will be making it very, very soon. I just want it to be very comprehensive and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to go check out my Let's Play. It would help me out a lot. I've been kind of slow on uploading that recently, and I'm going to get the rest of the episodes out considering I have finished the game now. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.